Hi, hello, and we are back to drawing more cats for my design blog. As mentioned before, the cats for this video are Crookedstar, Tallstar, and Blackfoot. This video was a lot harder for me to research, purely because these three are way more important than cats like Clawface or Speckletail. They just show up way more, and so there was a lot for me to go through here. Either way, let's start talking about cats. First introduced and into the wild as the current leader of RiverClan, Crookedstar is, from everything I saw of him, kind of hard to define. Sometimes he's being stupid and causing conflict, and sometimes he's helping ThunderClan and seemingly doing the right thing. This wouldn't be something I'd really think much about, since this is a pretty common thing with Warriors characterization, but Crookedstar has his own book. A book that, when I was younger, I reread multiple times because I loved it so much. Crookedstar's Promise was one of my favorite books, and even though I have a hard time recollecting his personality as portrayed in that book, it's just, I know this isn't the same guy. This is not the same guy. Sure, you can come up with whatever headcanons you want to explain this in-universe, but Crookedstar in his book versus the main series is objectively written very differently. Crookedstar is first seen at Firepaw's first gathering, and he announces that he's letting Brokenstar and the cats of ShadowClan hunt the fish in the river. He says that there's plenty of fish to go around, and that he's fine with sharing if it means blood won't be spilled. A few things of note here. 1. Crookedstar is just letting Brokenstar do whatever he wants, which is super odd considering that he was all, "Thank goodness he's gone and we've been saved," in the next book once Brokenstar is driven out. It doesn't even look like Crookedstar is being backed into this by Brokenstar, since he's willingly taking advantage of the fact WindClan is gone and later becomes allies with ThunderClan when both ShadowClan and WindClan turn against them for harboring Brokentail in their clan. Crookedstar explicitly has no quarrel or conflict with Brokenstar. He is just letting the evil dictator do what he wants. Oh, and this wasn't even something that he had talked about with his clan. Crookedstar just decided this on his own, and upon announcing it, RiverClan was pissed. Secondly, so Crookedstar, buddy, you're against blood being spilled, except for WindClan blood, huh? Is that right? Is that right, Crookedstar? Either way, ShadowClan and RiverClan are both content with WindClan being gone, but Bluestar isn't and fights to have them return, which leads to Crookedstar teaming up with the new leader of ShadowClan, Nightpelt. Fireheart and Greystripe bring WindClan back, and they take a detour to go back to ThunderClan through RiverClan territory, but they're attacked and a RiverClan warrior named Whiteclaw dies in the fight, which leads to even more tension between the two clans. On top of this, both Bluestar and Crookedstar later accuse each other's clans of being on their territory. This is true, but it's not what either the leaders think it is, and it's just Crookedstar's daughter Silverstream sneaking around and meeting up with her ThunderClan boyfriend Greystripe. Eventually this leads to Silverstream getting pregnant and dying in childbirth. To avoid conflict with RiverClan, Greystripe leaves ThunderClan and takes the kittens to RiverClan, which makes Crookedstar happy. Also, I'd just like to say that Crookedstar, according to Greystripe, really loved Featherkit. I thought that was a really cute detail I should mention. When Crookedstar isn't being written to create more conflict with the cats to deal with, he's an actually reasonable guy and helps out ThunderClan a handful of times. One time that comes to note is when he allows ThunderClan to stay on their territory until it's safe for them to go back home after the fire. That brings us to the final book in the main series that Crookedstar is alive for, A Dangerous Path. Throughout the entirety of this book, everyone is talking about how old and frail he looks, and as the book continues, he gets worse and worse, which results in him later dying, and Leopardstar succeeding him as leader. This is super weird though, because according to Leopardstar's honor, he dies of green cough. I was under the impression that his cause of death was always green cough, far before Leopardstar's honor had come out. They don't ever explicitly use the words Crookedstar is dying of old age, but that's absolutely the implication here. And on top of that, I searched the book, and from what I found, the word green cough is not used in A Dangerous Path a single time. So where did this retcon come from? Did I just make up a false memory of him dying of green cough, or was this a retcon made far earlier on, and the wiki is just incorrectly sourcing Leopardstar's honor as being when this is first said? Or the third option, Leopardstar's honor is in fact where his death is first retconned and I'm just an idiot. Either way, this thing is weird. If he's implied to be dying of old age here, then the first arc is implying that Crookedstar is older than Tallstar. who dies of old age in book 4 of arc 2. So wow, that's a whole lot of information that makes absolutely no sense anymore. After this, he serves the same purpose as basically any vaguely important first arc cat, so he sometimes shows up as a dead guy in StarClan. I've mostly based his design around his brother Oakheart, who I've already drawn, and the two have the same color palette, with Crookestar being slightly lighter. As for his jaw, I did my best to research what real cats with broken jaws look like, and though I definitely had some trouble getting it how I wanted to look, I think it looks alright. I also gave him some scarring on one side of his muzzle to try and tie everything together more. Maybe add a little more storytelling to his design to show where he hit his jaw when he was younger. Tallstar is first named in Into the Wild, but doesn't actually appear in this book since WindClan was driven out by Brookenstar, so he's in the book but in name only. In the next book, Fire and Ice, Tallstar is seen in the prologue helping his clan survive outside their territory, and later Fireheart and Greystripe go on a journey to bring them back. Initially, Tallstar is apprehensive, but once they let him know Brookenstar is long gone, he's very kind and welcoming to them. While they travel, Fireheart helps save a few members of the clan, and for this act, plus probably the act of rescuing them in the first place, both Tallstar and the WindClan warrior One Whisker say that they'll honor them for what they've done. After WindClan returns, Tallstar is pretty in character for the rest of the arc. He's friendly to Fireheart, but still a strong leader and is noted to be very proud and does not like admitting to his clan being weak. His main source of conflict is, of course, having been driven out by Brookenstar, so basically every decision he does or whatever conflict he's involved with has something to do with that. ShadowClan and RiverClan attack WindClan after they come back from being exiled by Brookenstar. Tallstar sides with Nightstar because ThunderClan is harboring Brookenstar, and Tallstar refuses to let BloodClan drive the clans out because Brookenstar already drove them out before. The only major clan conflict he gets involved with that has little to do with WindClan's past exile, at least from my memory, is the issue between him and Bluestar when they both accuse each other's clans of stealing prey. There is no actual prey stealing happening here, it's the dog pack eating their food. Firestar ends up having Tallstar and Bluestar meet, so a battle is avoided, and Tallstar thanks Fireheart for helping that happen. Cut to the next arc, The New Prophecy, after they've driven Scourge and BloodClan out, and Tallstar is super old now. So old, in fact, that they tell you in the allegiances. Two Legs begin to destroy all the clan's territories, which leads to WindClan firstly without any water, and then later without any food. Tallstar asks Leopardstar if they can drink from the gorge since they have no water, which she allows until they can get water back, but even after it rains, they continue to drink from the gorge, and then they start stealing ThunderClan's prey. In Moonrise, Barkface talks about how all the rabbits have been poisoned and how WindClan is starving. They've lost half their elders and most of their apprentices, which is something Tallstar had neglected to say at all. As the series continues, Tallstar gets weaker and weaker, which results in him basically dropping dead the second they arrive at the lake territories. Overall, I like Tallstar. I think of the clan leaders from Arc 1, he's my third favorite after Firestar and Leopardstar. Does he make the right choice every time? Absolutely not. But he's still a good guy, and they flesh him out far more than they do for a cat like Crookedstar. Though maybe that's just because Tallstar lives for a few books longer than he does. For his design, I stuck pretty close to his canon appearances, but I gave him a little beard because I thought it would give him a more wise and leader-like look. Blackfoot is first introduced in Into the Wild as the new deputy of ShadowClan under Brookenstar. He's first seen at the Gathering, but later appears when ShadowClan attacks ThunderClan and murders Rosetail as she tries to defend the nursery. Yellowfang fights him off, and afterward Firepaw asks, amazed, how she was able to fight him off the way that she did. Yellowfang tells him that though Blackfoot is strong, he's not very clever, and says that she's known him since he was a kid. He's a bully with no brains. Brookenstar is driven out at the end of the first book, and some of the ShadowClan warriors leave with him, Blackfoot included. He's not mentioned by name in Fire and Ice, Force of Secrets, or Rising Storm, but during these books he stays alongside the exiled ShadowClan cats and later teams up with Tigerclaw. The rogue cats' new alliance with Tigerclaw leads them back to ShadowClan, where Tigerstar becomes leader, elects Blackfoot as his new deputy, and lets the formerly exiled warriors back into the clan. Tallstar speaks about this at a gathering, saying that he is not thrilled with the cats who followed Brokentail being so easily let back into the clans, but Brokenstar defends them by saying that though they were loyal to Brokentail, they're loyal to him now. The book he's most prominent in is The Darkest Hour. Darkstripe is caught meeting with him, which leads to Darkstripe's exile from ThunderClan, and he's next seen at the Gathering sitting beside Blackfoot. Later in RiverClan, Blackfoot is there alongside a few of ShadowClan's warriors, and Darkstripe is ordered to kill Stonefur but fails, so Blackfoot steps in to finish the job. Firestar, Greystripe, and Ravenpaw rescue Mistyfoot, Feathertail, and Stormpaw, and though Blackfoot and some of the other Tiger Clan warriors try to stop them, the three half-clan cats get away. Tigerstar dies suddenly, having been murdered by Scourge, which makes Blackfoot ShadowClan's new leader, but he doesn't receive his 9 lives lives until after the book. He's the last of the leaders to join Firestar in fighting back against BloodClan, and even then, it's clear that there is a lot of hostility on his end towards ThunderClan. Once the battle is over and Scourge is dead, Firestar asks Blackfoot what he plans to do now, and he tells Firestar that he'll receive his 9 lives and life in the forest will go on as usual. Firestar then tells Blackfoot that he should learn from his predecessors, likely referring to Brokenstar and Tigerstar specifically, and tells him in an almost threatening way that he saw him murder Stonefur. As Blackfoot leaves, Ravenpaw tells Firestar that he probably shouldn't trust Blackfoot and that he's a troublemaker. So overall, in just his first series appearances, Blackfoot is very consistent with his characterization, although the characters who are specifically meant to be good guys or villains tend to do better in that field than the characters who float somewhere in the middle. Blackfoot is a bad guy, and I don't think that's a hard thing to really keep up with. Either way, I like what Blackfoot added to the series, and I like the fact that he becomes leader at the end. Though BloodClan is defeated and the first arc ends on a high note, future conflict is alluded to. Even though they won this time, there will always be conflict between the clans. Blackfoot is the first of his relatives that I've drawn, although I guess not technically, since Clawface is on his family tree, but they're not related. Either way, I got to be more free with how I designed him, but as I've mentioned before, I've already figured out what I want everyone's families to look like and what pelt and eye colors are getting passed down. He gets his white pelt from his mom Hollyflower, but his black markings from his dad Blizzardwing. As for his eye color, his mom Hollyflower has been shown with both blue and green eyes, but his dad doesn't have a confirmed eye color, so I decided he gets his amber eyes from Blizzardwing. And that's the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed hearing me talk about these 3. The next video should be Running Nose, Running Wind, and Barley. Oh, if only Running Brook from Wind Clan showed up here too. It would have been so funny if I had a video where I only talked about the cats named Running something.